Pluto return of the US and some things that you may not have considered. This is going to be a long one, so if you want to go ahead and watch the full video, I will post where you can find that in the comments. I'm going to start off this video though by stating that you individually have immense power to influence and impact these energies. I know it's easy to feel powerless when we start to contemplate the greater scheme of things that are happening, especially on such a large scale of the US or even globally. So I strongly urge everyone to energetically cast their vote and energy towards envisioning a positive transformation and reformation of the US. And how we can most potently do that is by starting with ourselves. So by addressing these hidden aspects of ourselves that we have suppressed, and by bringing them into the light and choosing to transform these aspects into something new by bringing them into the light through acceptance and through love. Once we individually address and right the wrongs of our past, we not only heal ourselves, but we are healing generational trauma. A lot of this generational trauma that we as Americans hold in our family lineage is directly correlated with this Pluto return, and I believe will be surfacing in this time. And once we're brave enough to face and heal that, we will see that reflected in our reality. So, with all of that being said, the Pluto return is said to be on February 22nd, 2022. But in fact, Pluto goes exact in the sign of Capricorn once it was founded on the 20th of February. So as we know, America was founded on July 4th of 1776. Pluto returns are said to be every 248 years. So while you won't see this on an individual level, you can see it within nations or empires that last that duration of time. Looking at the natal or the birth chart of the US, we see that Pluto was stationed in 27 degrees Capricorn. And again, the exact point where it returns to that exact point will be on February 20th. However, I believe that we have been seeing signs of this Pluto return since 2019, 2020, since this whole pandemic has started. And I believe we will continue to see it until 2024, 2025. This collectively signifies a new era for the US through a dark night of the soul. And we definitely see that reflected within a lot of people right now. I'm sure you know at least one person who's currently going through their own dark night of the soul, if not yourself. And as we mentioned, the USA was founded with Pluto being in Capricorn, the house of wealth. And Pluto, being the planet of shadow, forces us to look at how this nation's wealth was founded upon slavery, war, and the killing and stealing of indigenous land. So Pluto, like we mentioned, rules the shadow, the underworld. Coming with that is corruption, destruction, but also transformation and regeneration. Pluto asks us to confront our shadow, to confront the hidden truths that we may not want to look at. And also Pluto brings out everything that we have suppressed. So corruption is very likely to be exposed to the masses, as we're already seeing. And this will lead to massive changes in all of our systems, especially our monetary system, healthcare system, our economic system, and overall laws and regulations. So overall, this Pluto return is asking us to take a look at our foundation, because a nation that is built upon a foundation that is not solid, built upon love and truth as it claims to be, will need to be built again from the ground up. Looking at this 2/22/2022 portal that we're going through, the numerology is really reminding us to bring in that divine feminine. Divine feminine needs to be integrated in order for this new, strong, solid foundation to really take root alongside with the divine masculine. When we look at the numerology of the date, 2/22/2022, it adds up to 12, which reduces down to number 3. And the 3 being the Holy Trinity, or the new life that is birthed from the two. 3 is all about bringing in creativity, new ways of thinking and being. Quite literally being shown the old ways of which this foundation was built and what needs to fall away. And new creative ways of being that are more aligned and in harmony with the earth and with our own well-being and overall within spirituality. There are a lot of transits and things happening at this time, but the North Node in Taurus reminds us to focus on what's real, to focus on what we really cherish. We can do this by disconnecting from the chaos that is portrayed to us on a daily basis in the media and finding our own peace. Focusing and grounding in our own truth by doing the things that we love, going out into nature, again, focusing on what is real instead of focusing on all the what ifs, all the things happening around the planet that we cannot control, that we feel powerless to. And Pluto opposing Mercury really shines a light on all the division within our nation, such as race, political status, how you identify, religious beliefs, etc., etc. It will be very important now more than ever for those of us who consider ourselves spiritual to hold the codes of unity in this time. And a lot will be exposed and coming to light in this time. This is the true apocalypse, also known as the unveiling of truth. It's nothing to be feared. This is a much needed dark night of the soul for the US. And it is through the darkness that seeds of change can sprout and grow. With all of that being said, let's look at some examples of Pluto returns that other nations and empires have went through and, similar themes that we may see reflected in our current state of being. First being the Roman Empire, which was established in 27 BCE. But contrary to popular other videos that I have been seeing, it actually didn't fall until its second Pluto return. And major events don't always often occur at the time of the planetary cycle, but often that planetary cycle starts to put things in motion for events to occur later on throughout the years. Now, during the Roman Empire's first Pluto return, every emperor in the dynasty was assassinated. This marked the beginning of a period of anarchy and separation within the empire, and it separated into its own several competing states. Sounds eerily familiar. This event was also known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century. Taking a look at England, which actually survived 3 Pluto returns. Although the first Pluto return of England was accompanied by very severe economical problems and also the Great Famine. The second Pluto return, although there was a lot of drama, led to the golden age of literary and history as we know today in the Queen Elizabeth era. And England's third Pluto return led to the formation of the UK and also to the Industrial Revolution. And whether those last 2 things are good or bad, I'll leave you to decide. So the first major effect that we see for the Pluto return in America is definitely going to be economic. If we look back to what happened during Pluto's half return back in the 1930s, which was the years of the Great Depression, it will indeed be a turbulent time for the US. However, I don't think it's going to get that bad. It is important to remember that these events don't impact people in the same way, and even some individuals acquired a lot of wealth in the Great Depression. It just goes to show that these planetary energies and elements can manifest quite differently for different individuals. The second theme that we're seeing is going to be some political scandals. Some major individuals, including politicians, celebrities, government officials, we're going to see a major fall from grace in a lot of these authorities, even business leaders. Previously hidden corruption is going to be exposed. So if you got dirt, it's coming out. Possibly even an overthrow at the highest level of our government, possibly even assassination of someone like the president. So it is going to get very juicy indeed, and there will be enough tea to go around, honey. Third theme, especially since this Pluto return is happening in an earth sign, we are going to see some major environmental impacts happen, either positively or negatively. I would argue that we have already been seeing this unfoldment within the last few years, and the country's overall problem with pollution and toxins is going to reach a breaking point. It's very important in this time now than ever to really rethink every aspect of our lives and the sustainability of that aspect. We mentioned earlier in the half Pluto return that happened in the 1930s, alongside the Great Depression, was a huge environmental impact called the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl was a natural calamity that affected millions of Americans in the Midwest as a result of man-made agricultural practices that were not sustainable. So there's a lot that will be unfolding in this time, and it's more important now than ever to remain grounded and centered in our own truth and to be the change that we wish to see in this world, in this nation. We really need to reflect and look at ourselves individually, how we are contributing to the greater whole and unfoldment and evolution of our world, of our nation, even of our state. And as corny as it sounds, if every individual did this, we would be living in a dramatically different world. And that's why it's an important time, more so now than ever, to take accountability for our own actions. We are indeed witnessing the birth of a new world. It is an exciting time to be alive, to be here, to impact and affect change on this planet in a way that matters and impacts deep, profound, and long-lasting change, not only within our individual lives and our families, but within the whole of humanity and the world. And I know it's so easy to feel powerless in these times. And the truth is that you are more powerful than you could ever imagine. Just the power of your imagination alone has the power to affect great change, not only within your lives, but within the collective.